Hello, my name's Brett Thomas, and I'm going to talk about the 1999 film Scooby Doo Zombie Island. It's one of the classic Scooby Doo movies, one of the best they ever made. I'll talk about today how I think the story at the beginning is very unique and how there's a lot of unique, scary, and dark villains. I think in general, it's a very good movie. It's got a lot of dark stuff, and it's also got a lot of funny stuff. So what I think is unique about it is that it opens up with the gang finding this green monster, and it ends up being a man who is covering up for printing fake money, which is awesome for Scooby-Doo, starting with a federal crime. And they got tired of just catching monsters because it ended up being people in masks. So they break up. That story of the last mystery they solved is from the point of view of Daphne telling her own talk show, and she's talking about her second season of her television show called Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake. And Fred is a producer, and she's famous. And for the second season, she's going to go and find haunted places, but she says she misses the old mystery gang. So Fred makes a few phone calls, and he calls Velma. She owns a bookshop called Dinkley's Mystery Bookshop with two P's and an E. And he calls her, and she drops everything to go meet up with them. And then Scooby and Shaggy have kind of like regular jobs where they're working at airport customs. Their whole job is to find contraband, which in this movie is food that people brought from across the country. It's really funny because they end up getting fired because they eat all the contraband, which is food. And their boss comes in and is like, "You ate all the contraband." And he's like, "No, there's a couple gorgonzolas left. And this is two giant cheese wheels left." They get fired, and then Freddie calls them as they got fired, and they're like, "We have nothing to do." And so for Daphne's birthday, Fred picks her up, and she's all packed, ready to go, find these haunted places. Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma pop out of the back of the mystery machine, just like old times. And then it starts again, and they're going to find more monsters, but it also ends up being someone in a mask. But then they're in New Orleans, and they meet Lena, who is a cook for this woman Simone on Moonscar Island, and she says that her house is haunted, and they go there. But what I think is very unique is it doesn't start out with a regular, like they're together trying to solve mysteries or go to a different town. It kind of starts off with they broke up, they went their separate ways, they miss each other, but now they're back together. I also like how they updated everyone's wardrobe and van to the late 90s. But now that's not really updated. Now that's like kind of like old school stuff, but for the time it was brand new. Now I'm gonna get into the villains. We get to Moonscar Island. The gang follows Lena on a boat. The boat driver is a guy named Jock. He's this older man. They're on their way, and then there's a catfish like taunting Scooby. He tries to catch it, but then he scares it, and he ends up on this other guy's boat. And this other guy, his name is Snakebite, and he has a hunting boar named Mojo. I'd say he's a mid-level bad guy because he's not doing anything illegal. He's just a jerk. He's really mean, and he thinks he owns the bayou. He's always trying to catch his catfish, and he never does. So he's not really a villain. He's just an asshole. They go to the island, and they find out that there were settlers there, and Simone and Lena, Moonscar, and the pirates raided the island. And they basically killed everyone except for Lena and Simone because they got away. The interesting thing about them is they were settlers, and everyone on that island worshipped this cat god. They prayed to get powers to get back at the pirates, and they do, and they turn into werecats on every harvest moon. And they basically kill the pirates. I mean, it's a Scooby-Doo movie, so they vanish, but they murdered them. They murked them. They gone. They gone. They are immortal now, and every harvest moon they have to drain people, basically sacrifice them to stay immortal. More settlers came after they got rid of the pirates, and they opened up a pepper plantation. They needed to drain people, so the werecats murdered all of them. And that's who the zombies are. And at the beginning of the movie, you think the zombies are the bad guys, but they're actually the good guys. The zombies and the pirates are trying to warn the gang to leave. They don't, because they think they're the bad guys. They want to stay. I feel bad for the second group of settlers. But the pirates I don't really care too much about. Like Moonscar, he has a good look to him, but I mean, he killed all of Simone and Lena's village. I don't know, but then they keep killing people for immortality. So I feel like they're the worst villains of all because they just keep killing people and two wrongs don't make a right. But at the end, they try to sacrifice Velma, Daphne, Fred, the gardener, who's an undercover police officer. They make wax voodoo dolls of him. They didn't even bother Scooby and Shaggy because they hate dogs and they basically thought they were idiots, they said. So they didn't really, I guess, want their energy. The energy wasn't good enough for them. The movie ends on a good note, though. The werecats end up dying because they're not able to drain anyone's energy. And then they get on the boat and they go back with Scooby eating a sandwich. All in all, I think it's a good movie. My takeaways are it's a very interesting dynamic of how they all meet up again and go their separate ways. It wasn't just like a one villain trying to catch a villain. All these villains were tied in, you know, the werecats with the pirates, with the settlers. The pirates are bad. And then Simone and Lena were good, but then they became bad. And then the zombies you thought were bad, and then they were good at the end. It's a very interesting dynamic. All right.